Hello, my loves. Welcome to Soul Love. Welcome back if you've been here before. If not, I'm Mafalda. It is a pleasure to have you here. In this space, I dive deep into the twin flame phenomenon and I address it in all its complexity and nuance. And I do my best to not shy away from the real truths of the journey so as to assist you in your spiritual growth and to anchor union frequency. In this video, I will be addressing the category of twins who experience long periods of no contact during separation. And this video is in response to a few requests that I received when I posted the previous video in which I addressed the other category where twins experience an in and out type of dynamic where there is some contact throughout separation. And of course, I want to make you feel heard and supported if your dynamic doesn't look like that and you're actually experiencing silence, deathly silence. So, I wanted to preface this video by reminding all of you that it's really, really important not to compare yourself to anybody else on the journey, despite the different waves of twins or the fact that we are able to identify some categories or some patterns amongst twins. Each journey is absolutely unique and individual. So remember that it will depend on your soul origin, your soul history. And even if you do experience a dynamic that's similar to somebody else's, it will always be distinct. It will always be singular to you and your counterpart. And that's also the beauty of it, because our souls are unique. No one else carries the same exact core soul frequency as we do. That said, of course, it is sometimes helpful to identify some of the patterns that we see on the journey, just so we know what we're dealing with. Another point that I really wanted to make is that neither path is more or less challenging than the other. Both of them have their unique challenges and can be extremely disheartening and confusing at times. And it can feel cruel. Some of the behavior that we're on the receiving end of can feel quite cruel sometimes. So neither is better. Neither is better, neither is worse. Both come with challenges and obstacles to overcome. So without further ado, let's dive deep into the path of silence. What is going on when that's the case? So let's start by taking a look at what happens for those twins where there is contact, where there's this type of in and out dynamic. I mentioned that those twins, especially those divine masculines or 3D matrix twins, tend to have a lot more karmic debris and a lot more karmic entanglements. So the in and out type of dynamic is the consequence of this inner conflict, this wrestling. And a lot of the pain comes from them choosing to prioritize their karmic ties over the truth of the connection, over honoring their counterpart, which is the same as saying honoring the truth of their heart, honoring themselves, and coming into their own divinity. So oftentimes what happens is that counterparts in that type of dynamic end up feeling like second class or not chosen. And of course, if what you're experiencing is complete silence and you've heard nothing from your counterpart since you've entered separation, that is, of course, very painful as well. It can feel very cruel. It can feel like you meant nothing to them. But if you really are on a twin flame journey, I can assure you that that's not the case. Whereas the other type of twin, or the other category of twin, have more karmic entanglements to work their way through, this category of twins has a much more internal journey. So it's not so much about the karmic entanglements that they need to exit and transmute. It's more so that they need to reorganize their inner world in order to honor the truth of their heart. What's taking place is that they feel the depth of the love. They've experienced soul recognition. They have met the other half of their soul, to put it this way. They've met their soul in another, and it has brought out all the places in which they have not yet come into their own power. And they tend to withdraw because they don't want to fumble the sacred. They don't want to take a wrong step. They would rather retreat into silence than engage with you, knowing that they're not ready. And that's what the silence is a sign of. They aren't ready. And they go through this inner process where they need to realign within themselves. And the invitation for you as a counterpart is to come into your own embodiment, your own divine embodiment, your own personal sovereignty, that you start radiating union frequency from within, and you become a transmitter of love and truth that allows the magnetism of the connection to manifest itself in form. So these divine masculines or matrix twins tend to also feel a lot of fear, a lot of shame, a lot of unworthiness, and their silence is recalibration. Their silence is a fear that they've touched something so sacred that they are unworthy of it, and they don't want to come out of their cave until they are. And it's a deep invitation for you as the counterpart in this connection to remember and to come into the embodied knowing that external validation is not truth. That the truth of the connection lies in your heart, not in contact. That the depth of silence speaks louder than words sometimes. That worthiness is not measured by text messages. It's not measured by anything in the 3D. It's measured by how divine it is. It's measured by how profound it is, by how truthful it is. And I know it can be extremely painful, especially because in this type of connection, you tend to get a bit more of that type of situation where they perhaps deny the connection altogether or reject you completely. And they might even deny that they ever felt anything for you. Whereas with the other category, there might be more recognition of the connection, but the treatment and the behavior is quite, or can be quite, disrespectful in terms of not honoring the sacredness of it. So you see that one category tends to fumble the sacred. They might recognize that it's sacred, or they might not. Again, this will be unique and individual, but they might recognize that it's sacred and then fumble it and then treat it like it's nothing. And this other category might not even recognize the sacredness in words, in verbal terms, but they recognize it in how they're not willing to fumble it. They're not willing to come and offer you less than you deserve. They're not coming in and offering you a casual dynamic, for example, because they know that this is not a casual dynamic. They know that they can only step forward once they are ready to honor this as sacred, to honor the divinity of this love. And like I said at the beginning, it is much more of an inner path, an internal type of journey. And it's very spiritual and very deep. Both journeys are spiritual, of course. This is just my attempt at verbalizing or putting into words the difference so that you can feel validated on your journey. But of course, they might on the outside look like they have lots going on, and they might also have completely blocked you or completely rejected you. This will depend, of course, but if they haven't and you see them, or you see them going out and having lots of social interactions, it might seem that there's not that much going on within. And because they don't have as many karmic entanglements as the other category, it can seem strange why they can't choose you or they can't choose the connection. But in fact, it's because of what's happening internally. So don't take the outs. That's the takeaway lesson. Don't take the outside. Don't take the 3D. Don't take their lack of action or their silence as a sign that they don't care or that the connection doesn't matter to them. Oftentimes, it's because they care so much that they can't bring themselves to take action. And they only will once the time is right, once both of you are ready. Because once you come into alignment with your soul, once you've worked your way through all that's in the way of you transmitting union frequency, you will naturally draw them in again. Because that's another layer of what's taking place. They intuitively, subconsciously know that you're not ready either. That you have separation consciousness to work your way through as well. And that this silence and this separation is part of the journey of purification that needs to occur for union to be stable and sustainable in the physical realm as well, because union is multidimensional. It's not just in the 5D. So that purification needs to occur, and that can take time depending on which specific case. So I hope that this has shed some light on this particular category of twins. Do let me know if you still have any questions about this type of dynamic. I do absolutely recommend that you do the womb, heart, voice restoration healing transmission that I've made available on my website, my website store. and the link is below. I've just lowered the investment on it specifically for Virgo season because it's a very ripe time, let's say, or fruitful time to do this kind of clearing and realignment. And it will definitely help with the purification that needs to occur and with the clearing that needs to occur for your field to start broadcasting readiness. So do check that out if you're interested. And of course, I also 100% recommend getting one-to-one guidance specifically for your connection, because of course, these are overviews, they're generalized perspectives on what might be happening. But every journey is unique and individual. And I've come across enough stories now to really confirm that. And that's part of the beauty of it. Each pair of counterparts has such a beautiful, unique journey back home to themselves. And it very much depends on our soul mission, our soul origin, our soul history, etc. So if you do wish to receive that level of personalized guidance so you can feel validated and seen on your journey, and so that you can also confirm whether or not you are on a twin flame journey, then I would definitely recommend that, whether with myself or another coach or healer that you feel in resonance with. I do feel like it can be extremely helpful. Of course, if you connect with somebody that's not in alignment, it can also hinder you on your journey, like everything. But trust that that's part of the journey as well. If that's happened for you, that is also an invitation to come into your intuition, to your inner authority, to discover the teacher within. Because at the end of the day, our higher selves are the teachers on this journey, and that's who we need to learn how to follow at the end of the day, because we don't really want to come into 3D contact with our counterpart unless we're ready. Because if not, we're going to just create more distortion, more karmic debris to then clear again. So these periods of separation are extremely important, and they really do serve a purpose at the end of the day. So I hope that this has made you feel seen and validated on your journey. Do let me know if so in the comments section, and I will see you very soon in the next one. Thank you very much for watching.